evening and become isolated Friday night. So we do have a couple showers ahead of us heading into the weekend. It's Ruta Maya and Jesus Festival.
That's right.
It's a big
That's
weekend.
right. And hopefully all goes well with the Ruta Maya. They've had some little ripples in the water.
A lot of
with
ripples.
with the plan, and
Yeah.
and so I hope that all goes well. And but the importance of dialogue. But some people just want to make an executive decision without talking with people, and once money gets involved, and so.
Yeah, Scott, there's a lot of infrastructure. I'm going to call it disruption that's going to take place in the next at least 3 years, and I understand why the organization had to make changes. I believe you have it right when you say communication. I think that somewhere along the line, the organization dropped the ball in dialogue with especially the Canoe Association, which is where
they're called stakeholders, right?
Yeah, they're stakeholders.
And that's where you bring everybody to the table and you try and hear what's going on and see if you can find some middle ground, right?
Yeah, but aside from that, the communication, yes, may have been a weakness, but I think understanding is also a part of the should also be a part of the formula, because there's going to be the disruption at the Hallover, not at the Hallover Bridge, but the Hallover Bridge was just completed, and there was a lot of traffic congestion issues because of the infrastructure changes that had to be made. No, it's beautiful. The whole area on Hallover is now a very beautiful place. But Hallover is also where the transition occurs, where the canoes move off the Belize River and go into the Hallover Creek. It's a very, very small opening, and from there it flows into the Hallover. It always amazes me how a very small inlet eventually becomes what looks like a wide river.
But it's not.
With 3 bridges. So we have the Belchai, the Belcan, it's Belcan, Belchai, and then the swing bridge. And well, what was supposed to happen from late last year, was the beginning of the dismantling of the Belcan Bridge. So the association that is in charge of the canoe race had to make a decision from last year, because they foresaw that there would have been a problem at Belcan. So it's not like they made a decision 3 weeks ago or a month ago to move the race to another location. Okay. It sounds like that in the argument, but that is not what happened. Belchai should have already been blocked. There should have already been obstacles in the river, etc. But the Ministry of Infrastructure Development lost about a year in dismantling the bridge. But the decision was not made to create a new finish line because of the Grand Resort and so on. The movement of the finish line had to occur because of the situation at Belcan Bridge.
All right.
Yes, you see, so the decision was made from last year, anticipating that the Hallover Creek would not be accessible. So Ministry of Works went ahead and said, okay, since you guys are going to move your finish line because of the Belcan project, we will not clean the Hallover Creek. So every year they clean the Hallover Creek.
Get the branches out.
To get the branches out and all that, so that the actual paddlers can zoom down Hallover. So they said we reallocated the money somewhere else. So even if you want to go back to Hallover, you can't go back to Hallover because it's a hazard in the creek.
Right,
and then the association is still saying, yeah, well, we will still finish at Hallover Creek. See? And then it is more than that. I'm only trying to scratch the surface of the logistics.
But I haven't seen any of what you're saying in the news and
out there, Scott,
in the media.
But it's the cloud.
The noise.
The noise is louder than the truth. And then you have those who want to either get back at Love FM or with their agendas, who keep stirring up the issue beyond. At a point in time when Love FM should really be congratulated for the almost more than 10 years, over a decade of excellent running of the race, doubling of the prizes from 14,000, more than maybe triple, to over 40,000 in prizes for the paddlers. So it makes it look as if the paddlers were not the priority, when paddlers have always been the priority, just by virtue of how the prizes have almost tripled in size.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of I'll just dirty water, muddying the water in this issue. And I want to say that it's going to get even more congested, because I just want to share briefly what is taking place. Like here in Belmopan, just outside of Belmopan after Kikiwitz, we see that they're creating a diversion in the road.
Right.
And so we in Belmopan, we are already beginning to see the slowing down of traffic on the George Price Highway closer to Belmopan. It's going to happen along the entire highway, because there are two projects, two sets of funds that have been approved. One is from, I think, Belmopan to La Democracia, and then the other one is from Pongyard Bridge in Belize City, all the way through to the end of Hattieville coming this way.
Okay.
So from Pongyard Bridge, all of that within the next few months will be traffic
under construction,
reconstruction, a lot of delays. So the Love FM issue with Rutamaya is just like the first upset of activity.
Right.
So we are going to see, as time progresses, the cross-country race and many of these other races.
That's going to affect the cross-country for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So look at Belize City. Belize City is going to head into a period of massive construction that will last about 3 years.
Belcan, that whole avenue will be cut out.
Yes.
While they replace that bridge.
Then there will be changes on Chatamal. Then Swing Bridge is going to go and going to be replaced.
Yeah.
And then Pongyard to
Hattieville.
Yes, to Hattieville.
Yeah.
And so you see where Pongyard is.
Yep.
Right? Then you see where Swing Bridge is. Then you see where Belcan Bridge. And so what the government is saying, because this was a question that we asked in Senate when the announcements were being made. How is it that all of these projects just are happening at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, because of the size of the projects, to spread them out would take probably 10 years.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. You know, so 3 years of terrible versus maybe 10 years of terrible or very, very bad. You don't know.
Here's my prediction.
Yeah.
8 o'clock traffic jam in Belize City is going to turn to 7 o'clock traffic jam.
Yeah.
7 o'clock through till 9 o'clock, right? Maybe
Right.
10 o'clock. And so,
You see, so progress brings problems, but it is progress. We're not going to say, no, don't do Belcaner, no, don't do, because one of these days it's going to fall in the water and people are going to die. So I'm saying this morning, let's have patience, let's have understanding, let's have communication, let's have, that's dialogue, so that we can all get through it together. Scott, in other parts of the world, development takes place on the outskirts of what is already properly developed.
right.
So whenever development occurs in an area, everything is put in. You don't have to touch that area again for decades, and cities expand slowly and infrastructure goes in even before people come into the area.
Right.
So we have a bigger problem. It's the old city, the old highway. I was telling a friend, I would not have spent money on the same highway from Belize City to Belmopan. I would have built a brand new highway right beside the old one and convert it into 2 lanes. I would build a parallel highway and then just have traffic.
Right.
Yes, one older, one newer, and then I would slowly work on the old one. That's just my dream or vision or nightmare or whatever. You understand? But to pump money again into the same structure when you can clearly see that the highway is getting congested without construction.
That's
I don't
right.
know your travels between Belmopan, Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio.
Yeah, that's right. It's and sometimes it takes an hour and a half instead of an hour, because then you got big trucks that are going slower and all this kind of stuff like that. So it's definitely something that needs to be looked at. I'm sure the first knee-jerk reaction to that is, Maras, we have to spend twice as much, you know. Well, it's called development, right?
Yeah.
And more people are developing financially and getting vehicles, right? And then the roads get more crowded, and so it's important. But you know, this happens everywhere, Luis. It happens. I mean, imagine Mexico City, 26 million people, you know, or New York City. You want to talk about a very old city, and then they have to replace some of these different things. So it's just part of life, and but it will be a hassle for a while.
And it will be beautiful when it's over,
Yes.
and it's going to facilitate better traffic. The road from just outside of Hattieville to just after Old Belize, that's peat. The substratum is peat, and so you have all that wave. It's failed. The highway infrastructure is failing. You know, and some people say, yeah, Louis, but they just need to drive slower because it's a pretty good road. No, just a road should be smooth. You shouldn't be having sudden dips in the road.
Yes.
You know, like, so we accept like a substandard,
Right.
because the pavement has not broken. Then we're saying the road is good. You know, the engineers are right. You know, whenever you get those dips in the road, or you're coasting like that, you say, like, this is not supposed to happen, and so all that area is going to be redone, and so this is to reduce accidents, to improve the quality of life, to improve the speed between Belize City and Belmopan. And so I think Belizeans just need to be aware that we're heading into a time of infrastructure development, and that it will create some delays in traffic. It may change a lot of the events that happen, and that really and truly, I think that in this particular case, I believe that Love FM is taking a licking yes, it maybe could have been organized better, but like at the end of the day, you go like, okay, yeah, you didn't do this. However, I hear what you say, and that's the part that I'm not hearing. Where you say, okay, yes, I used to like. You come to the table with a issue, and then after consultation, say, okay, good, I understand.
Right.
And like that.
That hasn't seemed to have happened.
No, and the race is when tomorrow, right? See, so it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So like there's still confusion right now because I don't know where the race will end. It seems like a group of people will still end the race at all over.
Wow.
Oh, you didn't know that part?
Oh, well, I knew they were protesting, right?
No, or something.
But understanding that this plan was set in motion from a year ago because of the Belcan Bridge, I wasn't aware of that.
And it will be for the next 3 years because you know. So we have to make the adjustment. We have a call. You know, how do we have that dialogue that generates a united understanding and conclusion? Carla, good morning. You're on the air live.
Morning. Did we lose that call?
Good morning.
There we go. Good morning.
Pastor Wade. Good morning, Pastor Scott.
Morning, Don Hector.
Morning.
Yes.
You have to lower your TV set.
I think it's
Now,
stream.
we are talking about roads from Belize City towards Corozal and towards Salinas. I have said this over and over. When I speak with facts. What I saw, what I know, I was Minister of Public Works when we did a thorough survey of all our roads and future roads. It was done by a United Nations top engineer named De Corsi. He was sent here and he gathered a team of experts. They brought from Holland, one from Barbados and one from Mexico. And the company that did the soil test was a Jamaican company under the leadership of Mr. Coombs, a tall young man that used to live in Belize, Coombs. They made bore tests. Bore tests are things that are done with a transparent tube, and they bury it down into those swamps until they touch what you call the plate. There is a plate under Belize City and even beyond, a plate of stone that is as hard nearly as steel. It is below. That's where the Belize City rests on. Belize City was built by the river delta of the Belize River. All Belize City was underwater, but over the years it began to bring old sticks, old leaves, sand, and name it. And it formed what is called a sheet of peat, P-E-A-T, rotten leaves, rotten mud. And so this team of experts came and they did a total survey of the entire area. When they finished, Mr. Price, George Price, summoned them to his office, myself included as the Minister of Public Works, and our engineer, Bob Mala was there, Mr. Hector was there, okay, the whole crowd. So Mr. Price said, he said, tell us what was your report, what was your analysis. The chief top engineer said, look, we found a mass of mud underneath Belize City. In some areas it goes up to 70 feet deep. on the road to Halova, where are those houses they sink, they break a lot of houses around and then start to sink. That there is about 70 foot. We call it 7 culverts because at that side there are 7 culverts over the years, one on top of the other as they keep sinking. You go and take a look right now as we speak on that area and you will see a lot of houses leaning already. If a big hurricane comes, it will be a disaster, but let's leave that alone. So Mr. Price said, what can we do to build those exit roads? The engineer said the only thing you can do is build a floating foundation as Mexico did when they built Mexico City on top of a lagoon. Mr. Price said, okay, what else? He said, we recommend that the only way to build an exit there is to build a causeway. Like what they have in New Orleans, Miami, causeway over those swamps. Then Mr. Price said, and what else? Then the engineer laughed. He said, well, what you can do is remove that lot of mud there and bring in soil from the sea and you build a road with new foundation as Belicity was done with reclamation. How much will it cost? The man smiled again. He said, well, I say we can start with $500 million. Mr. Price, this will be too hard. Borrow. No. So with that, we can't do it. Then the engineer said, but you can also build a road along the sea coast by Belama, but the sea coast that has a foundation over the centuries of silt that come, conch shell and everything. So Mr. Price said, okay, let's leave it at that. Now, what they are doing right now, and I have been telling them over and over, the road to Halova will continue sinking until Thy Kingdom come. And we are seeing it. With our living eye, we are seeing how they keep making roundabouts with big cement piles. But that's only the roundabout. Other rest of the road keep. And then on the western road, the same thing. Between my 4-5, around Old Village, around that keeps sinking from when I was minister 60 years ago. Every time they have to pull it. So I am saying, engineers, remember this. Check back on what other people have studied. The files are there, the studies at some ministry. The files are there of those expert engineers that did that whole survey there. And in Belize City, they put some markers. They are there at Dean Street. That Belize City keeps sinking. I think it's 1 inch every year or every 10 years. I don't remember. But nevertheless, Belize City will keep sinking, and more buildings are put, the worse it will get. They are overloading the cap of Belize City with too much high-rise concrete buildings. When Belize City was built, it was wooden buildings, lumber. So it was like just St. John's Cathedral, and so they used to have cement, the heavy things. But Belize City is being sinking, so I would advise them to read what happened to Port Royal in Jamaica. Port Royal was like Belize City, and Port Royal just sank, and now you could see the column of the one of the cathedrals way below the sea. It has become a tourist attraction. I'm telling you because I am giving this free. These are facts. These are not favorite. This is not my opinion. It is what has been done in Belize City. I leave you because I might get too long with my story. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Don Hector.
Thank you very much, Don Hector. At a previous Senate meeting, when the Senate was asked to approve the funding of the leg from Pongyard Bridge to the end of Hattieville, the numbers looked very high because I think Belizeans are accustomed to $1 million per mile. It was about double that. And a government lead Senator Amon Courtney, just listening to the conversation or the debate that we were having, paused the meeting and called on the chief engineer to come in so that we could have questions answered. And it's the first time in history that something like that was done. And even the engineer, I mean, he came right in. He didn't have time to prepare, but he began to answer our questions, not from a political spin standpoint, right, but from a technical yeah. standpoint.
Yeah.
And here's the reality. That's how I said the PEAT, which is, as Don Hector said, he explained the problem and the solution as discussed in the time of Right Honorable George Cadle Price. So the matter is a matter of cost. It's a matter of cost. So what he was saying is, listen, you guys are questioning and Belizeans are questioning, why it's so expensive? We only used to 1 million, whatever. So yeah, he said, I cannot countenance myself to bring the actual value of what it will take to repair that section properly, like the way Don Hector says it, with floating the pillars, the piles, or whatever. It's $5 million a year when we pressed him a mile. 5 million a mile. So we moved from 1 million a mile to the problem that Belizeans have at the present moment, where they were saying 2 million a mile is too much. And then he's saying that this is why I cannot say here is the solution. So they're going to, with the double price, they're going to try something else and hope that it works. So it's wooden piles, they call it. So I don't know the technical stuff, but I want to say that our engineers are on top of it. Like the competence level I was confident with. What they were simply saying is, as a nation, we don't have the money. Whether that means we go mile by mile, a 5 million here and a 5 million there, or ways to discuss it, at least the Senate now has that information where we know what it would take to do it right. Then again, what happens next year or 2 years or 3 years as prices go up and we still can't do it,
Yeah, well, I'm kind of feeling like, haven't we already been down this road, pardon the pun, right? But haven't we been down this road? Remember the climate resilient highways, and we still wind up with these problems, right? And so I think that's part of the reason why people feel suspicious, and I think your plan is a very good one in terms of a double highway, but then we're going to be talking about $10 million a mile, right? And so I think that's part of the reason why people are suspicious. And then what we've seen a lot of times is government projects are opportunity to scrape the cream off the top, right? Yes, and so we want to be watchful on that. We want to serve the nation and make sure that things are well. But when you've got some longer term problems that haven't been fixed before, somewhere in there you're going to have to bite the bullet.
Yeah. So and to me, the earlier you bite the bullet, the better, and incremental. So rather than spend money that is going to just go right down into that and be swallowed at
Yes.
It's better for me to do one good mile, then another good mile, then another. But we're not the government. We're not the government. I can't say that anymore.
And we're also not engineers, right?
Yeah.
And so, but
the engineers understand the problem.
I understand. Yeah. And so, but some of these areas, Louis, where one part of the road is up and then the other part slumps down, like that scares the living daylights out of me. Not for myself. I'm a very good driver, but I'm thinking about inexperienced drivers, right?
They panic.
65% of Belize is 25 and under. 75% is 35 and under, and then you have inexperienced or insecure drivers that maybe freak out at that little thing there, don't know how to necessarily handle that. For an experienced driver, if you're not looking, right?
I wonder how tourists do it.
Well, that's the whole thing.
That's the
whole thing, and then you wonder what they think, in terms of my goodness, and I'm thinking the same exact thing in terms of I think we could fix this, even if it's a temporary solution, But anyways, it's just nuts and bolts of life, especially in the tropics, and we got swampy areas and mangrove, and we definitely don't want to wind up like that housing section on Northern Highway.
Yeah.
When you and all the houses that were, that was bad.
Yeah.
That was really, really bad.
LJ did a special, I don't know if you've seen his story on properties in Belmopan, because that was the purpose of building a capital city away from the geological and geographical, was to get it away from swamp. So a city was created to be the administrative capital. So we knew the government would move to Belmopan. We knew that the country would expand. We knew that spaces needed to be created for future development of government structures. And his story is about the number of Chinese, specifically businesses that have purchased all of the commercial available land. And then some of these lands were not even commercial available at the time, they were government owned. And then government sold it, and now government is renting from them. I was told that there's a individual who gets over $100,000 a month just on rent.
Wow.
In the capital city, over 100,000. So that's at least $1 million a year, which means that every 2 years the government could have built a $2 million facility.
Yeah.
You see, so was it short-sighted or deliberate corruption? Yeah. Either one of them is not good. That you created a brand new city, and within 50 years you're out of land, and then you are renting. So again, here's another group of people that have access to the public purse.
Yeah, that's
right? Because like what angers me, Scott, is the fact that anybody who wants to make money either enter into the political arena or suck themselves on, be it to telecommunications, be it whatever it is, they find a way to suck money out of the public purse. So now the money doesn't exist for the real infrastructure programs that we need, because it's going from public pockets into private pockets.
That's right.
So all of the infrastructure development that's taking place in Belmopan right now is Chinese.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not picking on the Chinese, but that's the reality.
Yeah.
Where is all of this money? Where is all of this money coming from? It's clearly not coming from the Belize economy, because from the fact that no Belizean rent those spaces, it's not coming from the Belizean economy. The only people renting those spaces are BPO and government.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
So you're not seeing a boutique opening here, like in this place you have a boutique here, a barber shop here. That's how it happens around the world.
Right. Right. So there's no signs of grassroots level prosperity
yes,
and fruitfulness.
Yes. But the big buildings are going up, and who's renting it? It's government. How can government be growing and the economy not be growing?
That's right.
How can the Chinese be making big buildings but the economy is not growing where average Belizeans are renting those spaces?
Right.
Something is wrong.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Do we have a call, Louis?
We have a call. We have a call, Scott.
Morning.
May I interrupt you again? A prophet whistling in the desert. I know Belmopan better than anybody else that is living in Belmopan. I went in there as minister to search what was in that bush. Belonged to Melado, and on the other side belonged to Savannah Bank. We went in there and we saw what was inside there, where there had been mahogany walls by Morgan Holmes, and all of them had kept life from there. We found solid gold. We saw swamped land by where the call center is, down below, recognized as the Mount Pleasant Flats, FL8 West. It's a water catchment for that whole area. So when the surveyors went in with Babylon, and Melado donated 1,000 acres by Mount Pleasant on the Belize, going towards Belize. 1,000 acres is there that Melado donated, and it reaches almost at the Nevadele entrance. Surveyors wait, and they found the land, and then recondemned, of which I am the only living director, made the plan how to expand Belmopan. We created government seats. That's where the legislative assembly, that's where was to be government administration. Then towards public works was to be an industrial zone. And then you had for the churches, that area where the Anglican Church, the Roman Catholic Church, that was going to be more or less a zone education, went comprehensively and all those things. Then the expansion was to be on the right-hand side of the Hummingbird Highway for the expansion of Belmopan, not the swamps of Mount Pleasant, where they have little Salmapan. I mean, no, all that village going in the water, so when it rains, they have to hurry get out. They expanded Belmopan on the wrong side, because the lands across the river were bought by people, because they were connected, and they bought 100 acres here, 200 acres here, and everything. So that area where Belmopan should have been expanded was sold in plots of land parcels, which was not the intention of Recondem. Recondem said we are going to build a capital city for people to live, to come and reside, open grounds, as they call it, air breathers. And so that whole area was mapped. When I saw what was being done, I said, my God, they got the wrong way, including putting the cemetery on the east. You do not put a cemetery on the east of a city. Cemeteries always go to the west because of the prevailing winds. But Belmopan have a cemetery right in front there. But I leave that. But I am saying Belmopan has been twisted around. Pity. I am the only living director, and it pains me to see that what we decided was turned around, and then plots of land are being sold to Chinese, to everybody. That is not the intention. The offer was not bad to build cattle farms or to build any other thing. It was built to be a city. I leave you at there. My pleasure will take the days for me to finish. But thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Don Hector.
So much of our greens are gone. You will notice that there was supposed to be an outer ring road separate from the ring road. Parts of that have been sold, and now you see the congestion.
We had a master plan.
We had a we had a master plan. What's a master plan if it's not going to be utilized?
Yes, and if you're not going to follow it,
Yeah.
you know, and so it takes that discipline. But I find, Louis, I think this is across the board, and it's to me it's a sign of our short-sightedness, right?
Short-sightedness.
That when the opportunity comes for this to turn into cash and dollar signs, all of a sudden the master plan kind of goes out the window, and we lose track, and you can't effectively grow a city like that, right?
I remember under Chanona, because this city council property was supposed to be like, it's in the middle of like a area with one-way streets, right? Belmopan City Council, Transport Department, Recon Dev, 3 very active offices in a loop, the Ambergris loop. So property was identified, property was identified on Mountain View Boulevard, where Cito is. That whole area was for City Council.
According to the original master plan.
The original master plan. Yeah. And I remember designs, I saw designs of the new City Council offices and everything. Sold, gone. So it's selling out the future.
Yes.
For some kind of expedient.
And then we're left scratching our heads right now. Now what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Right? And so
for a now. So now all of the properties that were supposed to be for government expansion have been purchased by a group of people that represent less than 1% of the population. And they own more than 30 to 40% of the commercial real estate.
Yeah.
Then the government comes back and rents from them into perpetuity.
Yep.
Into perpetuity.
Because there's no other space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and it's not that there isn't any other space, because they can go up, government can go up. A 2-story building can become a 3-story, 4-story, 5-story. You can build up. So instead, the Chinese are building now for government office. And now government money, that's limitless supply.
That's right.
It's limitless, because you run out of money, you increase tax. You run out of money, you
pass that on to the people.
And to the people in the fuel, in this, in that, and that group of people just keep sucking, right? So could you imagine the amount of money that's being made from rent when you can sell your supermarket or shut down your supermarket and convert it into an office space for government?
Yeah.
That's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's happening right now.
Why would you want to sell groceries when you could
when you could just
1.2 million a year?
Yeah. You see? Right in front of our eyes.
Well,
and then we require about Utamaya finish line.
Don't make me laugh. That's your fault. But I could see it, Louis, when all of these box buildings were coming up, that, I mean, it's it's not the money from the Chinese here in Belize. It's from over in China.
Exactly.
It's coming.
Exactly. It's that 1%.
It's an outlet
government
for them.
money.
And when I go to Africa, guess what I see? big boxy buildings and same Chinese, the tile on there, the shiny letters, same exact thing.
Exact. Then there are people try to give the impression that, oh, well, the Belizean Gilees have just made it well half a fried chicken.
Yes. Yeah. And
you know, this is government. This is China government money.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes. And then it's a good investment in the sense that, you know, it's a square building. If you wanted to turn that into apartments, you could. If you wanted to turn that into offices, you could. If you want to turn that into a hardware store, you could. A church, anything. Yeah. It's a square, boxy building, and you're guaranteed, you know, and so your values are not going to go down. Yeah. They're only going to go up, right? And, but we sold out our ability to be able to do the same thing for the benefit of the nation of Belize. So.
No, because the way I put it was that the prices have now gone beyond our ability to pay, because the money is coming from somewhere else. If the money is being generated by the economy,
it drives the price up.
It drives the right. It regulates the price. So just the fact that it is no longer affordable to the average Belizean is telling you the money is not being generated from Belize. You see, so it's not economy, it's strategy.
Yeah,
it's strategy. And that strategy is, as the article put it, is a part of the Belt and Road Initiative for us. It's how Belt and Road looks for us, because it looks differently in different places, but it's the control of the economy and commerce. So that's really what is slowly taking its way, which is why Donald Trump, President of the United States, has taken the stand. We used to hear Russia, 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 but Russia is a problem for Europe. The problem for this hemisphere is China.
That's right.
It's China, and I think Donald Trump was able to see that ahead, and I wouldn't say ahead of time, but he appears to be a student of history and is seeing the trend. And so all of what we are seeing is clipping the wing of China, either directly or indirectly, through Venezuela, through Cuba, through Panama, through Iran, through some of these things.
That's right.
You see,
and even the Greenland issue. You know, I didn't necessarily like the way that he handled that, but you know, here's your options: be invaded by Russia, be invaded by China, or you know, have an ally that you've had 50-year, 70-year partnership with, jump in and help build a beneficial plan for the people of Greenland as well. But it's going to be interesting to see how things unfold with that. And especially along the lines of
these are not small moves.
Yes. Could I change the subject?
Okay,
or do we want to take a break?
Let's take a break and then we'll change
the
subject.
How about when after this break, we'll change the subject? I got something I need to talk about.
All right.
And so, anyways.
We'll be right back after these messages. Stay tuned.
Land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize. Land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know. Nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place me ever roam could be like Belize. Be like Belize. Sweet Belize. Land.
Festival come to this very nation.
In Isaiah 30:29 it says, and you will sing as on the night you celebrate a holy festival, and your hearts will rejoice. The body of Christ will unite, and many hearts will rejoice on the Saturday, March 7, 2026 at the Belize Civic Center, beginning at 6 p.m. as a Heavenly Productions brings to you Jesus Festival.
Jesus Festival. Yeah, Jesus Jesus.
Featuring the hottest gospel artist coming out of the Bahamas, Sherwin Gardner.
So I say, with all of my heart and all of my soul, I worship you, oh Jah. Tell them that the praises never stop. All I want to do is give you the highest praise.
Also showcasing one of the biggest gospel artists from out of Trinidad and Tobago, Positive, dropping his hit tunes.
Rolling in my two-man army, my Jesus and I wanna sing out some sweet gospel reggae. Blessing after blessing and nothing can hold it back.
And then it's the return of the biggest gospel band in Belize, Heavenly.
I'm gonna be heavenlies for life, serving Jesus Christ.
And all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, USA, the daughter of the world-famous televangelist Creflo Dollar, none other than Jordan Dollar, with her hit song. Also highlighting Genesis 501 from Capital City, Belmopan. Blind Sight, Genesis Gospel Band from Sugar City, Orange Walk. Reality Youth, Pastor Herman Blees and the Kings Park Prince team, Pastor Frederick Gordon and Garin Carvalho and his GCO group. Remember Jesus Festival.
Jesus Festival. Yeah, Jesus. Rocking on the world. I said Jesus.
Taking place Saturday, March 7, Belize Civic Center from 6 p.m. until. Bring out the entire family for a time of praising God and witnessing souls being saved and lives being recommitted to God. For tickets, call 615-4766. That's 615-4766. Sponsors: Angela's Press, Racina's Imports, Cellular World, Love FM, More FM, Quem Radio, Vibes Radio, Plus TV, Channel 7, Channel 5, and Wave Radio. Come on out and be blessed.
Jesus Festival. Yeah, Jesus.
When the job demands more, Milwaukee Power Tools are designed to handle the toughest jobs on the construction site. If it's speed, durability, and performance you need, Milwaukee is the perfect choice. For unstoppable power at an unbeatable price, make it Milwaukee. Nothing but heavy duty. Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
Our Belize City is growing because of continued investment. From rehabilitated streets to expanding neighborhoods, significant investments are improving how our city functions and how our communities live. In the last 2 years alone, more than 250 streets have been rehabilitated, representing almost $34 million invested directly in physical infrastructure that improves access and quality of life. At the same time, the city continues to expand. Developments such as the Holy Emmanuel area, also known as Gungulung, reflect increased demand for land and housing as Belize City expands in a more sustainable and resilient way. These planned developments support safer communities and long-term sustainability, contributing to rising property values across the city. Under the Town's Property Evaluation Act, property values are required to be reviewed every 5 years. The last valuation adjustment was done in 2013. This adjustment simply brings property values closer to today's market reality, while the tax rate itself remains unchanged. Let's break it down. For a vacant property valued at $25,000, we charged an annual 2% rate, which works out to a payment of $500. Under the new assessment, the property value has appreciated by 40%, making the property now worth $35,000. Therefore, the new amount to be paid will be 2% of $35,000, which works out to $700. For an occupied property valued at $25,000, we charged an annual 10% rate, which works out to $2,500. Under the new assessment, the property's value has appreciated by 18%, making the property now worth $29,500. Therefore, the new amount to be paid will be 10% of $29,500, which works out to $2,950. To support property owners, your Belize City Council is encouraging residents to take advantage of the ongoing property tax prepayment incentives. Property owners receive 15% off in January, 10% off in February, and 5% in March. And senior citizens receive a 35% discount year-round. Remember, this adjustment represents an appreciation in your property's worth, not a change in tax rates, ensuring continued investment in your city while providing valuable data for informing investors, municipal bondholders, and individual credit assessments. And we want residents to know the law provides a clear mechanism for review and appeal if needed. Those who believe their valuation does not fairly reflect their property have the right to engage the Belize City Valuation Appeals Board. Your Belize City Council remains committed to openness, accountability, and ensuring that growth is managed fairly for everyone. Your Belize City Council, always about the people.
Pletz Home Builders is the largest house building company in Belize. Pletz combines the best skilled workers, high-grade materials, and the latest technology to produce the highest quality wooden residential structures. Request any size, color, and the home layout you want. Choose from hardwood or painted metal outer walls. Pletz can modify any of their existing house plans to your satisfaction, complete with all the installation services you need anywhere in the country, including ambergris key. They can also lift your house to your desired height up to 9 feet. From properly treated and cured lumber to quality sidings and floorings, let Pletz Home Builders give your home the finish you need. For prices or questions, call 823-0398 or go to www.pletzhomebuilders.com. Pletz Home Builders, we build to suit your needs.
Every project starts with the right tools. At Builders Hardware, we got everything to get the job moving. Tools, paint, plumbing, electrical, garden, it's all here from construction start to finish. We're also offering a different kind of power tool. Order anytime, anywhere. Pick up in store or get it delivered to your home. Go to shopbuildersbz.com today and save money with our exclusive online deals. Builders Hardware, making it easier.
Smart for everybody. Smart leading everything. Smart give you everything. Smart offer everything. Smart give you everything. North to the east and the south and the west. Smart are the best. Calling. Double up my data and give me all the text. In fact, give me a plan for my family. Unlimited calls, so me like it. And Smart make everybody feel happy. Bringing people together, me want it now. Smart got love for everybody. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. More bundles, data plan. Me want my smartphone, internet in my hand. Call me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Smart. Stay connected. Stay happy.
Cada conexión es más que solo una señal, es un estudiante abriendo las puertas a su futuro a través de la educación digital. Una mente joven atreviéndose a soñar en grande. Nuestra cultura compartida con el mundo en tiempo real. Y héroes cotidianos respondiendo al llamado del deber cívico. Cuando nos conectamos con Digi, empoderamos a Belice.
El rotavirus es una de las principales causas de diarrea acuosa severa y vómitos en niños. Puede causar deshidratación severa y hospitalizaciones. La buena noticia es que la vacuna contra el rotavirus ya está disponible. Se administra por gotas orales a los 2, 4 y 6 meses de edad. Protege tu bebé. Visite hoy su centro de salud más cercano.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna, Mestizo and Maya, living in peace. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go?
Thursday morning, Louis Wade and Pastor Scott Sturm with you as we discuss the issues that are being discussed in the general population. I mean, everybody got social media now, so on a one media house in a sort of way. I was watching this just early this morning. You know, they were saying that it's so hard now to identify a real photograph from an AI, and there are some videos that are out that that's really difficult to see the difference between reality and fake. And he said that's so much Satan in a sense, you know, that the Bible says that you know, like he's the father of lies.
And he masquerades as an angel of light. He counterfeits as an angel of light. And so, Louis, if something is AI, there should be some type of requirement that there should be a little thing in the corner that says AI, right? And because it should be criminal to not have that, to where you can stop, you know, I mean, attacks on people, you know, making videos of people doing things that they've never done, you know, and you could even make them grainy, you know, like it's a surveillance camera, you know, they're caught, you know,
doorbell perspective,
doorbell thing, and make it fish-eyed, where, you know, like, and there should be some kind of classification that clamps down on that, right? Or else truth starts to go out the window. And it's tough enough right now, right? And
you know, it just speaks to why we sit here, why we take the time out to be here. Because as I was saying, you know, there's so many issues that really matter, yet at the same time, some of the issues that hit the headline or the gossip circle are not they're not as important, but they're like the gossip, and it's sensational, sensationalization. Meanwhile, there are real matters, and I think you wanted to cut to one such important matter just before the break, and that one is in the news. I think it and I'm not sure if it made headline, but it did. It was a very important story.
That's right. This whole area of sexual abuse and rape, and so I believe it was if it wasn't headlines, it was quite close to the top on 7 News, but with O.J. Elrington, and then this thing, however long it takes, which actually that one was a very short time. It didn't drag on that long. There's others that have been dragging on for a long time, and nothing happens, Louis. And then this one happens real quickly, and boom, drop in a dumpster. Nothing today, you know. Not that I got clear. I'm exonerated, you know. Excuse me.
It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Just
well,
to say
especially when we're talking about the topic of the judiciary, and we're talking about the legal system, and we're talking about justice, and we're talking about sexual abuse victims, right? And which I consider to be way up high to the top of the list, right? But Louis, we've been suggesting this from National Evangelical Association, but we need some kind of fast-track court specifically designed for sexual abuse, rape, you know, inappropriate, even sexual assault, these different things like this. A court that is specifically geared towards that, and with some boundaries on the timelines. And I'm sorry, you know, your attorney can't make it, you find another attorney, but this case is going through, instead of this thing dragging on.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, particularly for women, you know, that these things that, like, it so whips their emotions around that finally they just say, you know what, I stop. And then everybody laughs because that's what they wanted, right? But there's another story in the news right now in relation to, well, I guess she's a former police officer that was groped on camera in the police station.
Yeah, but I wanted to add something to the OJ case just before you,
Sure.
you move to that case, because that is yes the case that we want to talk about last night, but it may have been triggered by the OJ.
Exactly.
By the OJ situation, and the media, on the day that the nolle prosequi,
Yeah.
we will not persecute, came from the DPP's office. The media, when they interviewed OJ, asked him about hot off the press videos
Yes.
that were released.
Yes.
Right? And that's one of the problems that we are having, because PlusTV, you know who own it, Channel 5, you know who own it, 7, Crime, Love, you know, even National Channel, you know, even the colorblind that's now around in Belize City, you know the owners. You have hot off the press that it's shady. You have these social media, but they create as much damage as, and you can't sue anybody because you don't know who the owner is. So they literally still have to allege that it's OJ related to hot off the press, because you just can't know for sure. When you have something like that, you should be able to know for sure.
That's right.
And then they were saying, the media was asking him about the fact that organization like released sensitive video information that was related to this particular case. And then I could recall, just previous to this no case submission, that the lawyers for OJ were arguing that the case should be held in public. Did you?
Yes.
So I can't unlink the two.
That's the intentional dragging this thing and the gory details. Yes.
Yeah, into the public domain, right? So like you imagine you get a request or a legal argument in court that says there are two rape charges, and then you say, okay, let's bring this case into the public. And then immediately after that, there is a no case, a submission. All right. So I wanted to point that out, and we don't know what happened or did not happen, and we will not get to know, because that is now dead. It is now dead. But when the media began to say the victims, he stopped them as if he is as if he is the victim. Right? So I can't say yes or no to anything. I'm just saying what I observed. So the victim change. Right? So I don't know if the women are going to speak, give anonymous interviews. I don't know if it's dead. I don't know what will happen in the future. But it's speaks to what you were saying earlier, that for some women, that you just want to get it over it because you have been violated, and then the process is taking so long, and then you are dragged through a particular process, and then your life is on pause. You want to move on, and so you know what, let's just drop it. I cannot say whether or not that happened in this particular case, but we can see it happening over and over, and it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
And for, if nothing else, for emotional survival, Louis, not only women, because we've had some of the cases where it's been young men that have been violated by others, and it doesn't matter how old somebody is, right? But for emotional survival, you have to do something to get beyond this, you know, to try to put this behind you, and then when this is dragging on for years, and it's going to go to the court case, and then from, you know, judicial wrangling or legal wrangling, that this is going to be made public, you know, and it's the reopening of all of those wounds, and many times, particularly for women, so I would say maybe even more so for children. You're talking about a child's life could be destroyed by this, and then they're going to drag and parade this thing. And so, to me, the no-nonsense, common sense solution to this is strike while the iron's hot.
So speed up the
process.
Give it a track.
Yes, and a time limit. Yes, a specific court and that is built for this with that requirement, because of compassion for the victims, and which is justice, right? And so, but the longer the thing is allowed to sit there, it's like a what they call a sitting duck, you know. It's just waiting to get blown out of the water.
And then sometimes you wonder too if that wait time is not deliberate, you know. I think
I shake my head, Louis. I look at some of these stories. It's craziness.
That story last night, no, the one that you were heading into, which is this occurred on a Valentine's Day 2 years ago. So we just finished off of Valentine's. We're in the month of March. So you can actually date it. That it hasn't seen its day in court as yet. And so I'm glad that this woman PC, WPC, came forward, because she's saying that, or what the scenario is that this happened on Valentine's Day. The male groped her, and he had two stripes.
And it's on video, it's undisputable.
And then somebody, after it occurred, somebody posted it to social media. So she was at her mother's bedside, who was sick at the time, and then this thing come. So it's like a double violation to her person and to her rights, because then the video went viral, and then she is abused, and then now in a way she's abused again, because 2 years later that she's seeking justice and cannot have her day in court. So this is like a triple violation. So at what point do we as a society value people's privacy and value their personal space, where men in our country don't feel like this is my territory to hiss, to sexually abuse, to sexually harass, to touch, to grope, to whatever it is, because it's going to be okay, it's funny, it's viral, and I'm not going to be touched. I'm going to get a slap on the wrist.
And part of me wants to say, where are the strong women magistrates? Where are the strong women attorneys? But then the other side of the coin to me says, wait a minute, it shouldn't have to be the women to step up and fight for that. Like that's actually part of our job as men is to defend them, is to protect them. And when there's an injustice like this that happens, that's actually the righteous definition of masculinity. We as men are to be defenders and protectors, right? And we are to be the ones that fight for truth and justice in these kind of areas. And so, Louis, it just boggles my mind. And then when you see all these other cases, like boxes of files of sexual abuse, rape. There was one from a lady who, I'm not sure of her legal documentation in terms of, immigration in Belize, but was raped, and then this thing dragging on and dragging on and dragging on and dragging on, and finally left from the country. And so the case dropped, right in the garbage dumpster again. And so then we were talking, on the break, Louis, in Belize City. I confess, I got a ticket in Belize. I've gotten 2 tickets. One traffic tickets. Traffic yes. Well, there is no weed ticket, and so it definitely wasn't that, right? And, but yes, I got busted for not having my seatbelt on one time, and I got another time for a parking violation, right? I confess. So I'm just being honest, right? But I have to confess also that makes me think twice about where I park, and it makes me think twice about forgetting to put my seatbelt on. Why? Because I felt some pain. But then if this just happens and there's no consequences, then people's behavior doesn't change. And so Louis, it's maybe partly the judiciary, the court system, but it's also the law, it's the police, it's also the attorneys. If we see ourselves as having an important role in helping to craft the better behavior of society, then these things must be dealt with swiftly, and they must be dealt with severely, because it sends that message.
Right. Otherwise, again, people say, I'm going to get away with it. I'm just going to get a slap on the wrist. And then that negative behavior is going to increase. And then our children or our women become more, we end up with more victims.
That's right.
And then you can also actually end up with more violent crimes that are committed against these people as time goes by. And I think I had mentioned it on Tuesday, that when a mayor comes in that wants to clean up a city, right? If there's a lot of drugs, a lot of crime, robberies, burglaries, they start with petty crimes, peeing on the side of the street, and those petty crimes are what ensure that you don't get criminal-minded people that get away with small things and then graduate to bigger ones. So that even as you're dealing with the larger crimes, you cannot ignore the smaller infractions of the law, because you slowly end up with lawlessness becoming the norm. And so here we have an even more important issue, which is sexual abuse. I was in, it was probably June or July of last year, that while I was in Ireland, we had this accusation of the rape of a male student. The teacher was a former ambassador to Cuba and was in the same school. This child was brutally sexually violated. It made the newscast. That's all the way last year. It's heading to a year, and I think it was only last week that the person was arrested and charged. You know, so like that huge space of time from a victim from a victim who is saying, this is what happened to me, showed all the bust up teeth, have the medical situation, and yet it takes that long just to put that in, like something is wrong.
And how long does it take to investigate that? You know, that's the crazy thing, Lewis. And so anyways, we've got tons of work to do.
Right. Your closing comments this morning.
Well, I just want to encourage everybody, you know, that righteousness exalts a nation. And I believe with all my heart, Lewis, every one of us, it's not just those in positions of authority. I would say it's more so those in positions of authority, but every one of us has a part to play in being part of the answer and not part of the problem, and helping to be able to craft, you know, the direction of our nation and things that happen in our villages, in our towns, in our neighborhoods, in our schools, things that happen, you know, sometimes children are taken advantage of, and then that's where we as adults need to step forward to make sure that those things get stamped out. And that's why we're recommending that there needs to be a fast-track court, a specialized court for this to specifically, with a specific goal, to stop these things from dragging on and on and on, and legislation that would help give that teeth. And so, but every one of us have a part to play in making our nation better, and for righteousness, for justice, for consequences when there's things that happen that should not happen. And so anyways, let's all be part of the answer instead of part of the problem.
God bless you, Belize. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Scott, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Lewis.
With me Thursdays. Plus, from time to time, you chip in on multiple days. We're very grateful, Belize. Thank you so much for watching us. Those of you who will be watching the repeat this evening, tonight, and of course over the weekend, we are grateful. We still want to hear feedback from you. Tell us if there are issues that you want us to discuss as well, that we can add to our schedule. Thank you for joining us. God bless you, Scott.
Lewis, thank you. Belize, have a wonderful day.
A good day.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me